Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BC, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Alright, we are live here on True School Sports, where it's my brethren all around the world watch this video. Hope you're having a great day as you're tuning in. Make sure you do yourself a damn favor and hit that subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed. Now, it's 11:50, 11:50 a.m. here in South Florida, sunny South Florida. We are here to talk boxing. We are here to talk about, obviously, the big news of yesterday was the major announcement for Deontay Wilder. For his big May 18th mandatory defense against Dominic Breazeale. Now, it is worth noting, hold on, make sure I'm good here on my settings. It is worth noting, since like that whole announcement happened, from the Breazeale side of things, from the Dominic Breazeale side of things, I'm happy for Breazeale because Breazeale has had to wait a long time. He's had to beat some quality fighters on the way up. His first fight against Ngannou, that was an upset. So he has earned a shot. I'm not mad at the Breazeale side of things. But I will say this. Man. The more details that come out about Wilder and the DAZN deal and what didn't happen, the worse it looks for Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Because first of all, he could have still fought Breazeale as a mandatory and fulfilled his mandatory obligations, and he would have been all right. He would have been Gucci. He would have been cool. But Deontay didn't sign the deal, and like he could have had Breazeale. He could have went there with and fought his mandatory obligation. Then he would have had Joshua. He would have had the Joshua fight. Then he would have had another Joshua fight. He would have had two Joshua fights. He would have had two Joshua paydays, okay? I mean, and that Joshua money's pretty damn good. I mean, as Charles Martin, he bought a freaking, was it a Bentley or a Corvette after the fight, and then he crashed it a couple months later. So that Joshua money is very, very good money, and he would have got two paydays against Joshua, and he would have had the chance to become undisputed, and he would have had the chance to validate, improve what he's been saying oh so much, which is one face, one name, one champion, and that is Deontay Wilder. Now, I got a series of things in front of me on my computer that I just want to run through with you guys, and you can drop your comments in real time as you want, because this needs to be spoken about. This needs to be spoken about, and we're going to speak about it here on True School Sports. Now, there's 17 of you here right now. Thank you for coming to the live stream. Let me know what city, what state, what continent, where are you guys tuning in from. As always, you know where I'm at, Dania Beach, Florida, the greatest city in all of mankind, all of human history. But before I get into the articles, I'm going to get into the comments that we have in front of me. So we got my main man, SSB28. He says, yo, what's up, champ? How you doing? What do you think about this whole Wilder situation? Have you seen any of the details that have come out since? Okay. David Grace, what's up, champ? He says, it's a clear duck. Wilder is scared to the death of AJ. Soon as Wilder gets beat and retires, the better boxing will be. I mean, I like Wilder personally. I think he brings that excitement to the ring no matter what you think about him. He has that one punch factor, but yeah, he's holding that belt hostage, man. I'm starting to believe he's holding the belt hostage myself. I'll say it one last time. Wilder did the right thing. He'll be more valuable than AJ in 1 year. Okay, well, unpopular opinion there from Party City. We'll see how that goes. I know Shelly Finkel was singing that same tune in the article that I have on my computer. Jasper Ram, what's up, champ? He says, UK in the house. As always, UK is always well represented here. Little Jacob, how you doing, man? Good to see you. He said, what's up, True School? Bro, we need to ignore Wilder. He's a bum. To each his own, man. Jasper Ram, Deontay, drag queen Wilder, wanker Wilder needs to retire. I ain't trying to waste my energy on this mofo. Okay, so y'all spoken in peace about Wilder. We get it. Y'all don't like Wilder, but I wanted to get into basically my take on this whole situation and just what I've been reading and researching about Deontay Wilder and this DAZN deal. So I want to start off with a tweet from Keith Idec. Obviously, if you guys are in boxing, you guys know that Keith Idec is a well-respected, well-known boxing journalist, pretty reliable source for news in the sport. Interesting stuff here from his personal Twitter account. This is what Keith Idec said in regards to Deontay Wilder. He said, I quote, one of the most interesting components to DAZN's $120 million offer to Wilder was that he still would have been guaranteed the Joshua fight even if he would have lost to Dominic Breazeale in the first fight of the deal. That's how bad John Skipper and company wanted Wilder to sign with DAZN. So let's take a step back let's take a deep breath and let's reflect on what it is this tweet is saying. Deontay Wilder, with or without a belt, would have still got the Joshua fight. He still would have got the Joshua paydays. And he still turned it down. I mean, Jesus. I mean, I like Wilder, and I was holding out hope that him and Fury would fight, but Fury decided to go do his own thing, so it didn't happen. And I thought they could have maybe had a chance to create a trilogy of some sorts, but Jesus. You mean to tell me you could have had life-changing money, you could have had the chance for Undisputed, you could have still lost the belt and still got paid. You would have had that security of getting paid even if you lost the belt. Even if you would have lost Sophia, if Sophia would have ran off with another man, you still would have been able to go get the Joshua fights. I mean, Jesus. How Deontay Wilder, I just got to call a spade, man. I like him, and you know, he's fun to watch, but how in the hell do you turn that down? He's really betting on himself here, because if Brazil knocks him out or an upset happens, he's screwed. His value is done. I mean, they made him an offer. They made an offer, you know, as they would say in the Italian mafia movies. They made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and he refused it. He refused it, and he ducked. And honestly, this is a clear duck. I mean, I know that word is thrown on a lot on my channel, and sometimes maybe I exaggerate and use a little bit of hyperbole, but that's a duck. I mean, because in boxing, you're a prize fighter. You're a prize fighter. You're a prize fighter. You fight, you know, obviously to get the highest earnings possible. You fight for legacy, to be recognized as one of the best in your sport. And you fight to be recognized as one of the all-time greats. Wilder had a chance to get all those things and still turn it down. And the funny thing is, he was still offered the security of getting those things, even if he lost the belt in the first place. So, I mean, we got to call a spade a spade. Wilder, or at least Wilder's team, does not want the Anthony Joshua fight. There's no two ways about it. They don't want the Joshua fight. So yeah, for those of you who are just funneling in here, it's your boy BT. It's 11:56 a.m. here in South Florida. We are talking about the Deontay Wilder, the deal he turned down with DAZN, because yesterday was a major announcement. I was live for that yesterday. I'm live for this today, because there's been some interesting details that have come out about that deal since the press conference. So for those of you who are just here, I want you guys to know that Deontay Wilder turned down a 3-fight deal with DAZN for $120 million. For $120 million. And the funny thing is, the Brazil fight, the mandatory defense, was included in the deal. But even if he would have lost to Brazil, he could have still had the 2 Joshua fights. He would have got 2 Joshua paydays and the chance to fight for still be a unified champion, even if he would have lost the belt. So that's the first interesting thing that I read this morning. So there's that. So, you know, go check out Keith Attic if you haven't already. So then a barrage of quotes, a barrage of articles starts surfacing on BoxingScene.com. We'll get to the first one, okay? The first one, it comes from the main man himself, Shelly Finkel, all right? Deontay Wilder's manager, who has been running his career into the ground for almost half a decade now. Shelly Finkel says the following. Let's see. So here's what Shelly Finkel said in regards to, hold on. So basically, in the first article, Shelly Finkel was saying that Deontay Wilder will make more money, that I'm a Wilder hater? No, see, it's hilarious. First of all, I'm a Wilder fanboy. See, you guys are funny. You guys are hilarious. I'm a Wilder hater one day, and I'm a Wilder fanboy the next. And, you know, I get called everything in the book, but it's all good. But Finkel basically says that Wilder will make more money. He'll be more the Joshua fight will only become worth more for Deontay Wilder. They believe that as he continues to marinate this fight, you know, it'll continue to get bigger for him. But he is running a massive risk, because if he loses, his career, his value is done. He has zero bargaining power, zero negotiating power. Let Brazil crack his ass one time and knock him out, and watch what will happen to his career. His career will end quicker than Milli Vanilli, straight up. So I want to get into his quotes. Here's what Shelly Finkel said in regards to this whole situation regarding the Joshua fight. He said, I quote, "First of all, I made the fight with Klitschko and Joshua. It was a 50-50 for the first fight. Wait, what is he talking about? First of all, I made the fight with Klitschko and Joshua. It was 50-50 for their first fight, and the winner got 60-40 for rematch. So it's not, and it can't be done. There was a precedent for it. Number two, a year ago, we accepted $15 million flat fee from Eddie Hearn. We're now offered close to triple that, so he's only getting bigger. It's only going to be worth more. And when we wanted to make the fight with Fury, we didn't argue about the price. We didn't argue about the split. How do we get the fight done? There's a big difference in the mindset of the handlers for Fury and Joshua. When they're not ready to think, that they own us, when they think they're ready to make a fight, remember, April the 13th is set in stone. We're fighting at Wembley. That didn't happen. You can't buy yourself. You need the right opponent. Obviously, Dremler wasn't, so they came here and they're fighting June 1st at Madison Square Garden. A lot less fans. So if you don't make up all these demands and commands, it becomes very, very different. There you have it. The words from the Duck Master himself, Shelly Finkel, the man who's pulling the strings. Now look, first of all, let's unpack that first part of the quote. He mentions that they accepted a $15 million flat fee, and I remember last year, that was in the summer of last year when that was being discussed. You know, first of all, Shelly Finkel, when they accepted, you know, verbally agreed to accept that $15 million flat fee, it came with a lot of BS, okay? It came with a lot of BS because they formally agreed to accept the deal, but then they didn't want to discuss the terms of the fight with Eddie Hearn. They would only accept the deal without discussing the terms, and they didn't want to discuss terms with Eddie Hearn. They didn't want to iron out the details, hash out the very important details, those minute details that it takes to make fights of this magnitude. They didn't want to do that. Eddie Hearn literally could not get a meeting. He could not get a meeting for those guys to come to have dinner with him in New York City. So there you have it. So he mentions that he's full of crap there. Then you have you know, the fact that they're being offered close to triple that. The reason they're being offered close to triple that is because Eddie Hearn got a war chest from John Skipper and DAZN that was not presently available to him when he made the initial $15 million flat fee offer. So obviously, with more money being made, Eddie Hearn and his team at Matchroom Boxing believed that more money would be able to entice Deontay Wilder to step in the ring to fight for the opportunity to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. The one thing he said he's always wanted to be for as long as I can remember in boxing. Okay, so there's that. Things have changed since then. Then he talks about. I mean, I'll give Finkel this. He did mention the April the 13th date, but to be fair to Hearn and Joshua, you know, Fury had his own. You know, Fury decided to go his own route with ESPN, and he wasn't gonna fight Joshua next anyway. Wilder, you know, Joshua couldn't get Wilder to come to Wembley Stadium on April the 13th. You know, he publicly called out to fight Wilder. He came here to America. He did a whole freaking press tour. He was on ESPN. He was on, you know, First Take and Jalen Jacoby. Big shows here on ESPN. And he could not, you know, get a tune out of Wilder to come to Wembley Stadium for April the 13th. So that didn't work. So, yeah, it was set in stone, but he couldn't get Wilder in the ring. You know, Dillian White, in his own eyes, thought he was lowballed, so he decided to bet on himself, and he's done that, and he's going to push on with his career. Maybe a Joshua fight with him becomes bigger. Okay, so you have that. Then, you know, after that, then like what? Ortiz isn't going to be a Wembley fight. So the next best option was for Anthony Joshua to break into the American market because there was no more higher than he can go. He could not go any more higher than he had already become in the UK. And I was saying that for months. If you guys go back, check the receipts, check my videos from December, check what I was saying. I was saying in December, Anthony Joshua can't go no higher in the UK than he's already gone. So the next best thing for him to do is to try to establish himself in the US market, and I think he'll probably fight Jarrell Miller. And when he does fight Jarrell Miller here in America, it'll be in the summertime, and it'll be one of the biggest heavyweight boxing events this country has seen in quite some time. And so far, so good as far as with that prediction. But Shelly Finkel, you know, I think that, you know, these negotiations and this fight not happening, it's literally becoming worse than Pacquiao Mayweather in some ways. It's becoming worse than Pacquiao Mayweather in some ways because you know, it's becoming worse because, you know, with Pacquiao Mayweather, you know, okay, it dragged on, but, you know, you can understand because these guys were transcendent stars. You know, they had transcended the realms of boxing. And when we talk Wilder Joshua, is it a big fight? Absolutely. It is a massively huge fight for the sport of boxing, and it has to happen for the undisputed title. But this is not like Pacquiao Mayweather-esque in terms of how big it is, you know. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's becoming worse because the fight is so easy to make. You know, there have been such great offers from the DAZN side of things, and he's still not taking the deal. So, you know, fair play to Wilder. If he wants to bet on himself and he thinks that it's going to become bigger, then great. I think, you know, to be fair to him, if he does keep winning, it will become bigger. I'm just saying it looks horrible on him right now because of the fact that you're getting a 9-figure offer. You're getting everything you'd want. You're getting security. You're getting financial security. You're getting the security of having 2 big paydays. Even if you lose your belt to Brazil, you're getting the chance to fight for undisputed if you beat Brazil and get to that point. I mean, Jesus. What more do you want? What more do you want? Does Anthony Joshua have to offer you like half of the land in the UK in order for you to go fight him? Like, does he gotta give you a magic carpet to come over to the UK and fight him? Like, come on, man. I mean, personally, I think Tyson Fury beats both these guys. I'm sticking with that. But this is a fight that I want to see. So it is what it is there. So that's the first article. The next article, now this one right here really begins to highlight. This begins to highlight the delusion, the depth of the delusion that Deontay Wilder is currently walking in regards to his own career. The title of the article on Boxing Scene is Wilder, I'm with the same people that got Floyd where he went. He's referring to Showtime. And that's why he's loyal, because, you know, he's seen what these guys done with Floyd's career, and he believes that he's in turn, by staying with Showtime, by sticking with Showtime, he will in turn become as big as Floyd Mayweather. Now, we're going to read this quote and we're going to dissect from there. Here's what Deontay Wilder had to say in regards to that. He said, I quote, "You got to look at Floyd. He's a smaller fighter, okay? And if you were able to do what he did, being a smaller fighter, like I said, people don't want to sit around for 12 rounds. I've been in too many fights and seen people get antsy. A lot of people can't wait till for just to be over, just like this. You know what I mean? They don't want to see 12-round fights, but they'll pay for it because of their love and passion for boxing. Floyd came around at the right time in his career because he was overshadowed by the heavyweight division. They say the same when the heavyweight division falls, so he does everything else. But it gave him the opportunity to rise. That's how he got to Oscar De La Hoya in 2007. The universe worked for him. It was a moment in time, and when he got the opportunity, he took it away. He was with the right people that knew how to get him where he needed to be. And guess what, my friend? I got the same damn people. And the main thing, the most important thing about this is I'm a heavyweight and I'm American and I have the power. Easy. Imagine Flo having power if he'd be knocking him out like I do. Oh man, what's easy? So there you go. Deontay Wilder talking about Floyd, comparing his career to Floyd. Now, there's a couple things Wilder, I think, in his brain forgot to, you know, say and really take into account. All right, let's unpack this whole statement he said. He talks about Floyd. He talks about basically, oh wow, all right, A Weapons, hey, shout out to you, champ. Let me read that. True School, I disagree. Hold on, let me go back to the comments, man. He said, I disagree. $120 million for 3 fights versus a possible $100 million for 1 fight. You have to bet on yourself. Dylan is starting to see that. LDBC, LOL. Okay, I guess the LDBC is here. Shout out to you, man. Look, man, I'm gonna get back to the Wilder article, but to answer you, A Weapons, look, you know, $120 million for 3 fights. It's not just the $120 million for 3 fights. It's also the chance to fulfill becoming undisputed. It's the chance to continuously still get paid, fulfill your mandatory obligations. Even if you lose your mandatory, you still have that chance to get that fight. And the thing is, what also frustrates me is Wilder, of the big 3 at heavyweight between Fury, Wilder, and Joshua, Wilder is the oldest of the 3. I believe he's about 32, 33. So he's no spring chicken. And if he loses a couple years from now, he may begin to say, oh, I was old. You know, I know his hands are brittle. He had got a steel rod running up his arms. You know, he may just he might say, oh, well, my hands are brittle. My body broke down. I was a little too old. So I'm just saying, like, I think the time is now. But I'm gonna get back to the article. Thank you for the super chat a lot, A Weapons. I really appreciate that, man. And yes, to answer your comment earlier, I saw it. I've been back on YouTube. I've been a little sporadic. but building that consistency. And yes, SSB 28. You said Wilder is 33. He's turning 34 this year. Exactly. He's turning 34 this year. He's no spring chicken. He could possibly, like, if this goes on another year and a half or so, you know, we're talking about Wilder being 36. Joshua will be what, 30, about to go on 30. So come on, take the fight. But anyway, going back to what Wilder said about comparing his career to that of a Floyd Mayweather. When Floyd Mayweather was with Top Rank, it's important to note this. When Floyd Mayweather was a Top Rank fighter, he was one of the most impressive fighters in the sport. You know, Pretty Boy Floyd, this man right behind me, one of the most impressive talents this sport has ever seen. Go back and watch the fight with Gotti, with Corrales, with Gennaro Chiquinito Hernandez, and you will see a guy with A-level skills out of his ass. The guy was great. Pull counters, speed, combinations. It was a complete 180 from what he became known as later on in his career as Money May, when he was a more of a technical boxer who relied on his skills. Because as he went up in weight and as he fought bigger guys, he could no longer be the Pretty Boy Floyd who was throwing 7, 8 punch combinations. He had to be that guy that was you know, being a lot more smart in there and using his ring generalship, using his defense, using all those things that he had in his locker and had in his skill set to be a good fighter. But he was knocking dudes out left and right. You know, I mean, right here, like he fought Castillo. They got his record right here. When he fought Jose Luis Castillo, he was 27-0 with 20 knockouts. So he was stopping guys left and right. Quality fighters too. And Floyd Mayweather, in stopping quality fighters, you know, he was getting recognition and he was recognized as one of these boxing's pound-for-pound talents. But fans had not quite caught up to that yet. They weren't buying his tickets. I mean, if you go, and I would highly implore you guys to go watch the fight where he fought Henry Bruselas. Right here in Miami, down the street at the American Airlines Arena. He fought at the American Airlines Arena, and it wasn't a sold-out crowd. It wasn't a packed house. He wasn't selling out the building, and he wasn't getting that, you know, clout or notoriety for people to buy his tickets. He was recognized as one of boxing pound-for-pound talents, but it had to translate at the gate. So he realized he had to change himself up, but it also realized he had to change his persona and make people dislike him, and he became what he made. He also, more importantly, he also had to humble himself. Floyd Mayweather Jr. had to humble himself, and he had to be the B-side, and he had to take 25%, and he had to bet on himself, not in namesake by saying, oh, I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to fight my mandatory. No. He had to bet on himself, and he had to take short money and fight the cash cow boxing at the time, which was Oscar De La Hoya, okay? And then in doing so, he beat Oscar De La Hoya, and when he beat Oscar De La Hoya, it put him squarely in the driver's seat of boxing, and he never looked back from that point forward, and he was the guy as far as the money guy in boxing. So people can say what they want about Floyd, they can hate Floyd, and there's plenty of things to critique about his career. I've done it myself, but he got to where he got to by actually at some point in time humbling himself, by taking the short money. And not only is the funny thing is Wilder's not even getting short money. That's the sad part about this. He's not even getting short money for this fight. He is getting paid very nicely, and he's getting a chance to fight for Undisputed. Floyd Mayweather Jr. wasn't even afforded the chance to fight for Undisputed when he got the De La Hoya fight. You see what I'm saying? And he still took the fight. He still took short money. So I'm just saying, Deontay Wilder is looking at this the wrong way. He's looking at Mayweather, the end product. He's looking at the end product. He's looking at the guy that, you know, was in the driver's seat of boxing, but he's not looking at what he had to do to get to that position. You know, Floyd will say himself, a lot of these guys want the Mayweather money, but they don't want to put the Mayweather work, and they don't want to bet on themselves like Floyd did. And Wilder is not betting on himself like Floyd did. So if you want to say you have the same people who guided Floyd to where they guided him to, okay, fair enough. But to be fair, Floyd got to where Floyd got to because Floyd put himself there, not because of the people that got him there. You see what I'm saying? They may have, Al Haymon might have positioned him and made the right moves once he was already in the driver's seat. But in terms of getting into that driver's seat, Floyd had to do that himself. Floyd had to take the short money. Floyd had to beat De La Hoya. So Deontay Wilder's perspective is very, very narrow, and he's not really looking at this. Oh, and then he talked about, you know, having power and being an American and whatnot. And he was talking about if Floyd had power. And I'm thinking to myself, does Wilder watch boxing? When Floyd was fighting at 130 and all these weights, Floyd had power out the ass. He was stopping dudes left and right. So come on, man, come on, Wilder, you're full of it. You're full of it, and let's wisen up here, okay? So there's that. Then you have okay, so this is why I think, hold on. This is why I think a lot of his newer delusion is coming from. Okay, so for those of you that know, and for those of you who don't know, okay, I think it was ESPN. ESPN put out an article, all right, and it was the 100. It was the most famous the 100 most famous athletes in the world, basically ranking the 100 most famous athletes in the world across all sports, every last one of them. Okay, you know, it's a list that they do annually. It ranks over 800 athletes from 78 different countries around the world. It's based on, and this is their formula. This is how they come to this conclusion, okay? Their rankings are based on three things, okay? So number one, social media following. You know, how many followers do you get on Instagram and Twitter, and what presence do you have on social media across all platforms? Okay, so that's one. Number two, endorsement dollars. How much money are you raking in from endorsements? The money outside of, you know, your contract that you get paid in the sport that you're in. Okay, that's number two. Number three, Google search. How, you know, people searching you. You know, how searched are you on the internet? You know, so it factors all these three things in, and they have their rankings based on that. Now, obviously, the number one and number two athletes on their list were Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, fantastic football player for Juventus, you know, and LeBron James in the NBA. You know, they're number one and number two. Very big names, we know that. But there were 6 boxers that made that list. There were 6 boxers that happened to make that list. And, you know, surprisingly, to many people's surprise, the guy, the most popular boxer that made this list, the highest ranked boxer on this list, was in fact Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. He came in ranking at number 34 out of 100 athletes. But it's interesting when you break down the numbers, because there were 6 boxers that made the list. There were 6 that made the list. And I'll tell you guys the rankings from lowest to highest. Okay, so Manny Pacquiao was the 6th highest ranked boxer. He was like in the 80s. Golovkin was like 78. Canelo was like 50 something. Joshua was like 40 something. Fury was like 40 something. And then Wilder was ranked 34th. He was the 34th most famous athlete in the world according to ESPN. But it's interesting because when you look at his endorsement deals, he has lower endorsement deals than Fury, Joshua, Canelo, Golovkin, and Pacquiao. His endorsement deals comes in at 1.6 million. Joshua 7 million. Fury is 2.65 million. Canelo is 2.5 million. Golovkin is 2 million. Pacquiao is 2.5 million. All right. Then when you go to Instagram followers, when you go to like or not Instagram followers, but overall social media followers, okay. Pacquiao's at 11.6 million. Golovkin's at, wait, that don't look right. That don't look right. But anyway, that don't look right. But it says that Pacquiao's at 11.6 million. Golovkin's at 3.4 million. Canelo's at 4 million. Joshua's at 7.7 million. Fury's at 21.5 million. That doesn't sound right, because I know Fury's not that high. And Wilder's at 2.5 million. And the only thing Wilder really ever, as far as these boxers go, the only thing Wilder has really surpassed these boxers in is his search. He's a higher search fighter than all these guys that I named, which I still think is surprising. But according to this list, their search score, he had the highest search score of all the boxers. So, you know, he took that yesterday and he ran with it in the press conference. He said, "I'm the most searched boxer in the world. I'm this, I'm that." And I mean, I'm not. It's not surprising though, because Deontay Wilder's interview with Radio Raheem, the To This Day thing, it really blew up. Like, it really transcended boxing. Like, I saw it all over Instagram, all over Twitter. People who were using it for all kinds of things that had nothing to do with sports. So I think if he is the most searched boxer, I think that's why. That's my personal opinion. But regardless, according to this list, he is the most searched boxer and he is the most famous boxer. So I find that very, very interesting. But I know Wilder is popular because, you know, I do YouTube videos, and I know. I know, like, you know, who's popular, who's not, based on the amount of views I get when I talk about certain fighters. And I know Wilder's a popular guy. So, I mean, he took that and ran with it yesterday. And Showtime ran with it too. And then last but not least, two things more regarding to this Wilder thing, and I'm gonna get to your comments. I'm not ignoring you guys. I see all of what you guys are saying in the comments. Here's what Wilder also said in the press conference, and this was really this was probably the pinnacle of his delusional statements on the day. He said the following. I quote, I want to prove the, and that's at the press conference. I quote, I want to prove to the world that I'm the best. That's what I believe in my heart. Until someone proves me wrong, I will continue to believe that. Brazil is the next man in line. I can't wait for that. I'm just going to show everyone on May 18th the way I feel right now. The fight could be this week. The champion must always be ready for whatever a challenger can bring. Where did he say it? I'm looking for the... Oh, here we go. He said this. Here we go. Here's what he said. No man gets in the ring. No man that gets in the ring will be able to defeat Deontay Wilder. I hold the keys to the heavyweight division. No fighter is doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to give fans something they've never seen before. Enjoy this one because it's going to be a massacre. May 18th will be a beautiful day for me and a beautiful day to see what I'm planning to do for the sport of boxing. So the one part I want to highlight in that comment is I hold the keys to the heavyweight division. Well, are you shitting me? How do you hold the keys to the heavyweight division when the consensus around the boxing world is that, you know, you are the third best heavyweight in the world? The majority of boxing fans out there don't think that you're even the second best heavyweight anymore. Now that Fury's back in the picture, the consensus is that Fury and Joshua are the two best heavyweights. You know, sometimes people think you're the second best heavyweight. Some people even think Dillian White is better than you. So how can you hold the keys when the perception is that you're not even a top two heavyweight in a lot of people's eyes? That's number one. Number two, you're the B-side in all negotiations with the top guys. Joshua and Fury and even Dillian White, because he's a bigger draw in the UK than you are. So that's number three. And then number two. And then also, you hold the keys to the division, but, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know how you can say he holds the keys to the division, but then you're the one who's turning down career high paydays. Like you're the one who's getting offered career high paydays, and you're turning them down. Okay, so I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm really like, I'm disappointed in I'm not surprised that they turned down the DAZN deal. It was expected. But I'm more disappointed in the levels of delusion that he is displaying in the interview sense. So I don't know, man. And you know, somebody said in the comments, you know, they call him the Bronze Bomber because he's used to finishing third. Exactly. You know, he's the Bronze Bomber. He was bronze medalist in the Olympics. They call him the Bronze Bomber, and he's in all likelihood the third best heavyweight in the world. So I don't know, man. But last but not least, in regards to this, and then we're gonna move on. It was reported by Sky Sports News, and I'm reading this on Michael Benson's Twitter account. Go follow Michael Benson on Twitter if you haven't already. Really good boxing writer for Talk Sport. Michael Benson stated the following: that Eddie Hearn said that he wrote a legal letter to the WBC regarding the heavyweight mandatory situation. They have a mediation meeting with Mauricio Sulaiman this weekend, and they want Dillian White to be the mandatory for the winner of Wilder Brazil. So even if Wilder decides to duck Joshua and not fight him and not sign his own deal, Eddie Hearn is still going to do his part to try to force the WBC's hand to make Wilder fight Dillian White, even if he fulfills mandatory obligations and doesn't want to fight Anthony Joshua. You know, he can go. He'll have to fight Dillian White because Dillian White will be his mandatory. So interesting stuff in the heavyweight division. Hopefully, you know, I want to see that fight because he got, you know, it's funny, he got a career high payday back then to fight Dillian White before 2018 even happened, and he turned that down. So Wilder has been turning down career high payday after career high payday after career high payday after career high payday, and he's holding that belt hostage. I mean, at this point, you got to say he's holding that belt hostage, straight up. He's holding that belt hostage. Like, I like him. I want to see him fight Fury. I think he's a fantastic all-time great puncher. I like Wilder, but he's holding that belt hostage. I mean, for everything that is righteous and pure, I mean, this guy is holding this belt. I have not heard of a worse hostage situation since, you know, the Iranian embassy siege in the 1980s. I mean, this is horrible. This is horrible. Wilder's holding that belt hostage. He needs to fight one of these top guys. I don't care if it's White. I don't care if it's Fury. Again, I don't care if it's Joshua for undisputed, but I mean, you're just getting too much money thrown at you to continuously be turning down things and then sitting up and posturing like you're the kingpin of the division when you ain't beat the top guys yet. Like Fury, love him or hate him, Fury can posture himself and he can say that he's the king of the division. You want to know why if he wants to? Because Fury beat the man when he was the man, and that was Klitschko. And then Fury fought you with no tune-ups, and the only reason you were so quick to make the fight, because Finkel talks about the negotiations for the fight like they were so easy. Like, yeah, we made the fight. We made the fight, and it was so easy to make because we were so willing to make the fight, and that's why every fight with us is easy to make. But in all reality, the only reason that Fury fight happened was because the perception from your camp and from a lot of people in the boxing world was that Fury didn't have it in the war. That Fury couldn't compete with Wilder. That Wilder was just going to ice a man. He was going to destroy a fighter, an opponent that had been on his ass for 2.5 years, had suffered from mental health problems, cocaine, alcoholism, all kinds of problems he was having. And he wouldn't be up for it on the night. But I was trying to tell you, I warned you guys 2 weeks before that fight. I said, look, Tyson Fury is a special fighter. And he's going to go in there, he's going to outbox Wilder. And what did he do on the night? He outboxed Wilder at 65 to 70%. So, that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. He can posture himself as a king of the division because he's put the work in to posture himself as a king of the division. Anthony Joshua, he can posture himself as a king of the division because guess what? Anthony Joshua, in way less time, has his body of work, and I'm speaking for the entire division. I'm speaking from the Fury side of things, and I'm speaking for the Wilder side of things. His body of work, overall body of work, the guys he's fought in succession is better than everybody in the division. Overall body of work. Povetkin, Carlos Takam, Klitschko, Dillian White, Brazil, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Joshua's done his thing in boxing and become unified champion, put himself in the driver's seat of boxing in the heavyweight division in less than 6 years or 7 years as a pro, 6 or 7 years as a pro. So what he's done is no small feat, and he can posture himself that way. But what Wilder cannot do is he cannot posture himself as the king of the division because, for one, up until last year, and last year is where, with me, at least, with me, I can't speak for you guys, but with me, he gained a lot of my respect because up until 2018, Wilder had done dick in the heavyweight division, straight up. He had not fought the creme de la creme of the division. He was ducking guys. He was reluctant to get in the ring with certain guys. He ducked Povetkin, and we can get into that later if you want, but he ducked Povetkin. He ducked Luis Ortiz for a little bit. He put Ortiz through the ringer. Him and the WBC put Ortiz through the ringer just to get the damn fight. But he still fought Ortiz, so I gave him the credit later on. But up until 2018, Wilder had done nothing with his career. So it's an unfortunate series of events, but I'm happy that at least Hearn is still trying to position White to get that fight because I want to see Wilder in there with another top guy. So that's just what it is. I'm going to get to your comments because I know I've been talking, I've been rambling. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments down below. Let's go up. A Weapon says, True School, good to see you, bro. I'll be looking here and there at your videos. I've always enjoyed your channel. Peace, LDBC. Hey, I appreciate that, man. And look, A Weapons is, I guess he's an example of guy because not everybody in the LDBC is bad. Because I know, like, I think Mr. Boxing Today is in the LDBC. And every now and then every now and then, it's very rare, but every now and then you run into some decent people in the LDBC. So shout out to A Weapons. Let's see. Look for the interesting comments. The social media thing is messed up. Yeah, it is a bit messed up. It's flawed. It's a flawed way of judging things, It's a flawed way of judging things. Because honestly, are you going to honestly sit here and say that, hand on heart, Deontay Wilder is more popular than Manny Pacquiao? Are you going to sit here, hand on heart, and say that Deontay Wilder is more popular than Anthony Joshua or Canelo? Hell no, he's not. UK boxing is popping right now. Absolutely it is. UK is doing their thing. It's a golden age for them. And honestly, for the UK fans that are in here, y'all should really enjoy this time. It's a special time for you guys because it's a special time for you guys. You guys, in my opinion, have arguably the 3 best heavyweights in the world. You have a fantastic just thing going on in the UK. You really do. You really do. UK boxing is actually drying out, and American boxing is getting bigger. Well, things go in cycles. So the UK has had their time the last 3 or 4 years. I think American boxing will have its time these next few years to come. Wilder number 3, more like 6 or 7. That's funny. That's funny. New Day, what's up, champ? How you doing, New Day? He says, salute, General True School. What's up, champ? How you doing? Good to see you. What do you guys make? For those of you who are funneling in and out of here, what do you think of the Wilder turning down the DAZN deal, and what do you think of the details that have come out since? Let's also for those of you who are just getting in here, if you don't know already, I'll rehash it for you guys. Deontay Wilder. It was reported today by Keith Idek, you know, a really prominent boxing writer for boxing scene, that Deontay Wilder turned down the DAZN deal, and not only did he turn down the DAZN deal, but in the DAZN deal, even if he would have lost to Dominic Breazeale, he still would have got 2 paydays against Anthony Joshua. He still would have got 2 Joshua fights, and he still turned it down. So that to me makes it that much worse, and it's not looking good for him. It really isn't. It really isn't. Rex Righteous, my man Raphael. What's up, champ? How you doing? Shout out to my man Raphael out there in Las Vegas. He says Wilder has not considered that he almost lost to Fury. I mean, absolutely. I mean, on black and white paper, it was a draw because American judges are, can be really corrupt and horrible sometimes. Judging in boxing in general, forever, has been horrible. But he lost to Fury. I mean, there's only one fight in the last 4 years that I've been since I've been here on YouTube. There's only one fight that I think fans generally agree that a fighter where a fighter got robbed, that he won the fight, and that fight is Marcus Brown versus Hot Rod Radovice Kalaznic, the fight that happened on the Errol Spence Chris Algieri undercard. Other than that fight, I can't think of a fight where one guy got robbed and so many people are in support of a guy who got robbed. Can't think of one. Wilder even said himself he does not care what the fans want. He will do what he wants. Well, he's going to do what he wants. And, you know, he better just focus on his fight with Breazeale, because he can't look past Breazeale. Breazeale, look, Breazeale is not a bum, okay? People get it twisted because Breazeale hasn't been, he's not an elite heavyweight, and he's not in the Joshua Fury, you know, category. But he's not a bum. He is a durable opponent. He's a guy who, you know, against a guy like Joshua with Joshua's boxing skills and hand speed, you know, of course, he got blitzed and iced by Joshua. But let Breazeale catch Wilder with anything close to what Ortiz was able to catch him with. Let him do that. Let him do that and see what happens to Wilder. Wilder will get flattened because Breazeale has that one-hitter quitter. I don't think he's going to beat Wilder because I think his reflexes are still too slow, and he himself is way too slow of a starter, in my opinion, to beat Wilder. But if on the night, because boxing is a funny sport, you know, what we think we know can be proven very wrong on the night. If Breazeale somehow is able to connect with a overhand right and be mindful of that punch, if he hits them with an overhand right, he has one-hitter quitter. He has one punch knockout power. I would say in the heavyweight division, outside the big 3 or the big 4 at heavyweight, you know, outside of White, Fury, Joshua, or I'll just say this. If you were to rank the top 15 punchers in the heavyweight division right now, of the notable guys at the top level of the heavyweight division, Dominic Breazeale would probably be in the top 3. He'd be there with Joshua. He'd be there with Wilder. He has that kind of power. And if you don't believe me, go watch his last fight against Carlos Negron, and go watch his fight from 2 years ago with Ngannou. Okay, JC20 says Daniel Dubois would be higher. Okay, I can see that. But Dubois is still a prospect. I'm not talking about prospects. I'm talking about guys who are, you know, in that top 15, you know, kind of on that top level. Okay, so David Price, you know, okay, so let's go through it. You got Wilder, you got Joshua, you got David Price, you got Povetkin, you got Daniel Dubois. You know, Breazeale is okay. If he's not in the top 3, he's definitely fringe top 5. He's like 5, 6. He's a capable puncher. He has one punch knockout power. So what I'm saying is Wilder can't take this fight lightly. He needs to make sure he doesn't get caught with anything. And the thing is, boxing a lot of times is about the mind motivation. It's about, you know, the psyche of the fighter going into the fight, and we got to look at it for what it is. This fight has a lot of bad blood. there was a lot of personal things. You know, Brazil has been waiting for 2 years to get this man in the ring because it's been 2 years since the Ngannou fight when that incident happened where with his wife and his family. So this man, Wilder, in Brazil's eyes, Wilder disrespected his wife, he disrespected his kids, and he's been waiting for 2 years to ice this man, to hurt him, to put some respect on his name and iron him out like a pair of wrinkled jeans. But now he gets his chance. And with Wilder, Wilder felt disrespected in some sort of way. And he is very up for this fight. He said he hasn't felt this way since the Stavern fight. And when he fought Stavern, you know, Stavern, he wanted to prove a point that fight, and you saw what happened. So there you have it. So Wilder might flail his arms around, and luckily for him, when he fought Stavern, he fought a dead man walking because Stavern hadn't been in the ring for like 2 years. He hadn't been in the ring for 2 years, Stavern, and he came in, he was fat and out of shape. He was out of shape. I mean, I remember, I'll never forget Romain Stavern when because I was there. I went to that fight. I spent my fight week around that fight, Stavern Wilder too, because my Adrian Granados, my boy, shout out to Adrian Granados, a big fight against Danny Garcia on April 20th. We'll be live for that. He was on the undercard for that fight because he fought Sean Porter, and I was out there to support him. And I saw Stavern. I was at Gleason's gym for a workout, for the media workout. And he walked through the door, and his whole energy, his whole aura just looked like that of a dead man, a guy that that knew what was coming, that knew he was going to get stopped, that knew Deontay Wilder was going to put him on his ass, and you saw what happened on fight night. So I think Brazil's a very live dog in this fight. I'm not picking him to win, but I think it's a very live dog in this fight. And Wilder just needs to make sure he don't get hit with anything significant against Dominic Brazil. So that's what it is. But it's your boy BT. It's 12:36 p.m. here in sunny South Florida. True School Sports. We are live. Okay. Let me know what city, what state, what content you guys are streaming from right now. Let me know what you think about this Deontay Wilder fight with Dominic Brazil and all the details that have come out since then. Also, let me know about any news in boxing that I haven't touched on because I'm about to run through some of the news now. So any news you guys want me to cover, we will cover it here on True School Sports as I am live. Let's go up. Let's see. Wilder supporters need to look at the situation objectively. Wilder made a poor error in the judgment, not expecting that the lucrative deal he could have retired quite happily on that deal. That's true. He could have retired on that deal. And could you let's be optimistic here for a second. Could you imagine, right? Let's say he gets that 3-fight deal with DAZN, and let's say Wilder just goes 3-0, 3 knockouts. Let's say he just knocks out Brazil, knocks out Joshua the first fight, knocks out Joshua again, and he retires. Could you imagine retiring from boxing undefeated as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world? I mean, Wilder's legacy would have been that of one of the great American heavyweights if he retires, going 3-0 with 3 knockouts after that DAZN deal. I mean, because you're talking about 2 knockout victories over Anthony Joshua, 1 knockout victory over Luis Ortiz, and then yeah, a fight where people thought you got a gift in a draw against Tyson Fury, but the memory will still be that you knocked that guy in the 12th. You knocked that guy down in the 12th round, and every man you went in the ring with, you put him on their ass. And it would have just been, it would have really cemented yourself. So I think by not taking the deal and not really believing in himself, and by not keeping that same energy and believing in himself like he said he does, he missed out on a big opportunity to cement himself as one of the great American heavyweights. What should Wilder do after the Brazil fight? He should go fight Anthony Joshua. Oh, good point. Okay, New Day, you're right. Good point. Everybody but Johan Duabas. He didn't knock down Johan Duabas, but he did stop him. Fury got robbed, man. The heavyweight division would be a better place if the judges weren't corrupt and Fury became the WBC heavyweight champion. I would agree. I think if they would have allowed Fury to get that belt and have that comeback as, you know, the biggest comeback in boxing history by beating Wilder, you know, it would have been a really good story, and it would have set up for a massive Anthony Joshua fight in a 12-round bout where he would have boxed the daylights out of Anthony Joshua and jabbed the taste out of his mouth. I want to see that fight. I really think Fury would beat Joshua. The more I go back and watch his fights, the more I see his fights, the more I think he's going to be Anthony Joshua, straight up. Southpaw Films, what's up, champ? He said, Wilder may get knocked out this fight, man. I'm telling you right now. Hey, I would not put it past Dominic Brazil, because Dominic Brazil has that one-hitter quitter. My thing is, he's a bit slow. He's a bit of a slow starter, and sometimes his reflexes are a bit slow. So my thing is, can he catch him with the shot? Wilder isn't the most defensively sound fighter in the world, but you know he's very likely he can get hit and get ironed out. Joe Joyce is relentless. He absolutely is, and I would, you know, that's another fight. If Wilder fought a guy like him, I'd love that fight. I have my doubts, I have my reservations as to if he can even beat a Joe Joyce. Foul Pole Boxing, what's up, champ? He said, it's sad if any of the 4 parasites, Heyman, Finkel, DeBella, and Espinoza, complied with their fiduciary duty to Wilder, they'd have advised him to take the deal. 33-year-old heavyweight without a degenerative right hand. Right? Is that RH means? I mean, yeah. One underrated thing that people aren't considering is the age here for Deontay Wilder. He is no spring chicken. He's 33 years old. He has had multiple hand surgeries. He has a steel rod in his right hand. And Deontay Wilder needs to make sure that he should take his deal. He should have taken the deal because, you know, as early as his next fight against Brazil, he could throw one punch the wrong way, and it's very likely he will because his fundamentals aren't the soundest. And his wrist could bend the wrong way, or a rod in his hand could pop out of place. And before you know it, his hands are going to get brittle real quickly. And there you go. He's no longer a top level heavyweight because he can't punch the same way he used to. And he don't have the boxing skills to outbox the top guys. So as quickly as things have gone right for him, they can go equally as bad. I don't like Joe Joyce, but then I don't because he knocked out my friend from Boston, Palmer. I was upset, really, but Joe Joyce is definitely solid. I like Joe Joyce, and I love to see Joe Joyce fight like one of the other guys, like Adam Kalnacki or Jarrell Miller or one of those guys. I think those would be really good fights. Yeah, Johan Duhaupas is a tough SOB. He really is, man. I got a lot of respect for Duhaupas. Manchester, England. What's up, Manchester? How you doing? Manchester, England, home of the Gypsy King, home of Manchester City. Even though I don't like Manchester City, but home of Manchester City. I like watching them play. Really fun team to watch. What do you mean no way? Oh wait. Canelo versus Joshua at cruiserweight on Cinco de Mayo? No way. Who said that? It sounds like they're trying to make Wilder fight Klitschko next. What's your thoughts on that? Honestly, if you want my honest to God opinion on that, if the Vladimir Klitschko that showed up in the Anthony Joshua fight, I know you can't expect it to be exactly the same, but if he can recapture some of that form he had in the early stages of his Anthony Joshua fight, I think even now Vlad is capable enough to beat Deontay Wilder because he's got power. He's still a really good boxer, but if it happened, if it actually happened, I would actually pat Wilder on the back because even though it happened, what, 4 years too late, you know, you still fought Klitschko, so I'd give him a bit of credit. But I'm going to run through some of the boxing news, guys. So we're going to run through it here on True School Sports. It's your boy BBT. It's 12:42 p.m. here on the East Coast. We are live. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. Got a lot of good stuff coming out. Let's get to some of the news. Okay, so I'm doing a video about this really soon, so be on the lookout for this. But Teofimo Lopez recently did an interview with the lovely Helen Yee on Helen Yee Sports. And he basically said that Lomachenko can't be a pay-per-view fighter without him. And that he's only made $2 million in 6 years or whatnot. Now, I haven't actually listened to the whole interview. I listened to bits and pieces of it. But basically, from what I had a chance to listen to, Teofimo Lopez stated that Lomachenko, you know, is a good fighter. And that he thinks he can beat him. And, you know, that Lomachenko can't be a pay-per-view fighter without him. That in order for him to become that pay-per-view star, he'll need Teofimo. And Teofimo stated that he doesn't think that he needs Lomachenko, but he would want Lomachenko. And that also, you know, Lomachenko has been talking a lot recently about saying that, you know, he's not going to fight Teofimo Lopez until he gets a belt. Teofimo said, okay, I'm going to go get a belt, and let's go see what he says after that. So Teofimo is on his ass. He wants this fight. He wants to fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko has been very vocal recently saying that he would make Teofimo Lopez quit in 6 rounds and that he will only fight him when he becomes a mandatory opponent. So there you have it there. That's a fight that I really want to see. Obviously, Teofimo Lopez is one of those guys who has not stepped up to world level yet. He has not fought anybody you would, deem as an incredible world level opponent. The closest thing to that would be his last fight with Diego Magdaleno. So with that being said, man, the ideal fight for me that I wanted to see from him was Jose Pedraza, because I think Teofimo Lopez would flatten Jose Pedraza. Jose Pedraza is very hittable. Teofimo Lopez is fighting at a very high level right now, and I want to see. I don't even think he needs. Call me crazy because I've set. Wait, what? Holy shit! Oh crap! My man T Street's here. T Street Controversy is here. Oh my god. Hey, what's up, T Street? How you doing, man? Good to see you. What a pleasant surprise. We got T Street Controversy in the building. How you doing, man? I want T Street. If you could be so kind, please in the comments, because I haven't had a chance to watch any videos, if you made any recently, about what happened yesterday. What do you think about this whole Brazil Wilder situation, man? I think it's very interesting. Wilder, to me, he's ducking Anthony Joshua, man. Like, how do you turn down a 3-fight deal with $120 million? It's going to guarantee you undisputed. And then it also came out today that he would have still got 2 Joshua fights even if he lost to Brazil. So you get the security of losing to Brazil, not having a belt. You still get the Joshua payday. So it is what it is, man. We got some heavy hitters here today, man. We got T Street Controversy in the building. One of the best. I love T Street. But yeah, Teofimo Lopez, what we talking about? We're talking about Teofimo. Yeah. So what I was saying is, call me crazy, and I said this in a video I did about him recently. Teofimo Lopez reminds me a little bit of Floyd Mayweather Jr., the pretty boy Floyd. I'm not saying he's as good or as talented, but what I'm saying is I think he has that kind of talent to where, when you look at Floyd, before he fought Gennaro Chiquinito Hernandez for the WBC title, when Hernandez was the #1 ranked guy, and he stepped up and fought Hernandez, he hadn't had a fight at world level yet. He hadn't had that fight yet, but he was so confident. He believed in his skills so much that he took the fight and he just ironed out Gennaro Hernandez. He destroyed him, had a masterclass performance. Now, obviously, there's a distinct difference between the level Gennaro Hernandez was at when Mayweather fought him and the level Lomachenko was at when Teofimo wants to fight him. But I think he's that good. I think he is that good that he can go in there and he can go and he can give Lomachenko a really, really good fight and potentially beat him. I think he's that good. And I even take it a step further. Lomachenko's a great fighter, but seeing him at 135, I think we've already seen the best of Lomachenko. Call me crazy, but I think we've already seen the best of him. That's not to slight him. That's not to slag him off. That's not to disrespect him. But I sincerely believe we have seen the best of him. I believe like the Walters fight and those fights he was having in the past against Gary Russell. I think that's as good as the Rigondeaux fight. Even Linares, that's as good as it's going to get. I don't think we're going to see a better Lomachenko than those fights, particularly as he gets older, as he, ages and settles into 135. It's going to really, hold on, get my charger. I think his lack of power at the weight, and just fighting guys who are younger, stronger, faster, fresher, it will catch up to him, and I just don't think he's going to be able to have those virtuoso, like, legendary performances that we're so accustomed to seeing him have. But that's my opinion, and I really want to see the fight with Teofimo Lopez later this year because, when you look at 135, there really is not a whole lot of interesting fights to be made. So when you look at the landscape of the division, the fight makes even more sense. And Bob Arum's talking about making a fight with Felix Verdejo. Verdejo's a good fighter. I like Verdejo. Verdejo, has a lot of promise. If he can put it back together, he has a lot of promise. There's still, I'm sure, being that he's so young, there's still a really talented fighter in there. But we got to call a spade a spade. Felix Verdejo hasn't had a statement performance in like a good 4 years. And now he's fighting Brian Vasquez April 20th, and it's a do-or-die fight for him. So, I'm just saying, man. I think Lopez, that fight needs to happen first before we go into discussion about anything else for Lomachenko. So yeah, that was one thing. So yeah, go check out Helen Yee. She just did an interview with Teofimo on that. It was really, really good stuff. He ain't ducking. Heyman and Finkel are more interested in Espinosa's interest than Wilder. Ali Act violation. Yeah, I would say that. I would say that, like, because the Ali Act, and for those of you who don't know what the Ali Act is, for those of you who I'm assuming if you're on my boxing channel that you're a hardcore boxing fan. But you know, just because you're on my channel, you might like the sport of boxing, doesn't mean you know what the Ali Act is. So let me educate you guys. The Ali Act is basically an act here in America. It doesn't. I don't think it. I'm not sure if it exists in the UK, but I know it exists here in America. The Ali Act is basically a law in America where a promoter and an advisor can't be a promoter and vice versa. A promoter can't be an advisor because there's a conflict of interest. And this was created when Don King, I think it was like the 70s or the 80s, when Don King was kind of like playing both sides. And it's to avoid that. But Al Heyman, probably better than anybody since the Ali Act was passed, ever since that law was passed, Al Heyman has probably manipulated that rule and got around it more than anybody in the history of boxing. Helen Yee's interview with Pulev was fun. I saw that she interviewed him. I gotta watch it. She's got, you know, big shout out to Helen Yee. She's gotten a lot better. I mean, I've been following her channel for years. She's gotten a lot better with her interviews. Allah Quikumba says, true, you're one of the real boxing commentators with fair judgment. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll continue keeping it real, man, as much as I can. Although I will admit sometimes, every now and then I be tripping. Foul pole boxing. Can you be your own man if your hands are tied by Al Heyman contract? It's very interesting. That's a very interesting thing. Now, my answer to that question is, there's levels, okay? There's levels to being your own man with the Heyman contract. And I'll explain to you what I mean. So you could be like someone like Mikey Garcia. So we'll take someone like Mikey Garcia, for example, right? He's someone who is with Al Heyman, but he is a free agent. He has the room to maneuver and go to different networks and fight on different platforms, as he has before. Daniel Jacobs, same thing. You know, Daniel Jacobs is advised by Al Heyman, but he's promoted by DAZN, Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearn. So there's that. And he's fighting Canelo. He's fighting in a big fight come May the 4th. So there are ways you can be affiliated with Al Heyman and be your own man, but there are levels to it. But if you're someone like Deontay Wilder, Earl Spence, Danny Garcia, to where like Al Heyman has poured a lot of money into you, he has put a lot of investments into you, you are a PBC guy to the core. There is absolutely no way in hell you can be your own man apart from that. You have to be with Heyman. You have to. I mean, have you seen Wilder or Garcia or any of those top PBC guys that we come to know and love? Have you seen those guys, you know, with fight on any platforms with any promoters? No. So there are ways you can do that, but there's levels. Wilder seems to be a slave to PBC to the PBC Showtime atmosphere. How is it he says he's a free agent but can't fight on major platforms? He's handcuffed. He's really handcuffed. Deontay Wilder, straight up. I mean, I don't know. Al Heyman is a hard guy to interpret. It's hard to interpret what fighters are doing with each other, like what fighters can and can't do with Heyman, because as I've learned through the years of studying and watching different Heyman fighters, from the lower level guys to the guys at the top, you know, it's a case-by-case basis, honestly. It really is case-by-case, because you can be a guy like Daniel Jacobs, and you can be promoted by somebody else like Eddie Hearn and DAZN, but you're still advised by Al Heyman. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like not with Al Heyman, but it's kind of like Jarrell Miller, for example, right? Jarrell Miller is formerly promoted and managed by Greg Cohen Promotions, right? But he has that working relationship with Eddie Hearn, and Greg Cohen has that working relationship with Eddie Hearn, and Greg Cohen has Salida Promotions. So he's got like two promoters. He's got Salida Promotions, he's got Greg Cohen Promotions, and they work under the umbrella of Matchroom Boxing and DAZN and Eddie Hearn. And people think Eddie Hearn promotes Jarrell Miller, and he does because he puts him on the platform, but he doesn't formally promote Jarrell Miller, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's the same thing. from Thomas Hauser. Don King and Al Heyman graduated from the same high school, and Heyman's father was a clergyman at a church King made contributions to. That's insane. That's pretty insane, actually. I never knew that. Do you have the article for that? I'd actually like to read that, if you have an article for that. But yeah, so that's that. Let's also get into some more. We want more. Also interesting news that was reported on Michael Benson's Twitter account via IFL TV that Anthony Joshua's trainer and manager Tunde Ajayi says that they'll welcome Sergey Kovalev to fight. They want that fight. Anthony Yarde wants to fight with Kovalev on one condition. You know, there's always that one condition. Okay, they want that fight, but if it takes place, it cannot be in America, and it won't be in America. He believes that Anthony Yarde is the A side, and he wants the bout at Arsenal Football Club's Emirates Stadium due to judging concerns in the U.S. Now, let's unpack that for a second. Are you shitting me? Are you serious? Anthony Yarde, Mr. Lions in the Comp. Lions in the Comp. He's trying to dictate terms to Sergey Kovalev? Sergey Kovalev, the Crusher. He's trying to come on, man. You haven't even fought someone in the top 50 yet. You haven't even stepped up to British level. You haven't even fought Hosea Burton and Caleb Johnson and those guys of the world. And you're trying to sit here and say that you're the A side? Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, you're popular. You got your little fan base in the UK, but you're still fighting over at Leicester at Leicester, some small arena in Leicester. You know, you haven't even graduated at stadium fights yet. So how are you gonna talk about fighting Sergey Kovalev at the Emirates Stadium, one of the biggest football grounds in all of the UK? How are you gonna do that? Come on, man. And then another thing too, Sergey Kovalev isn't even an American. He's not even an American, and he's been ripped off by judges in America. So what are you going on about? Well, it wasn't Yarde himself. It was his manager. So pretty piss poor stuff from Anthony Yarde's team, getting a little bit too big for the bridges, talking about they're the A side and they want a bout at Emirates Stadium. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. Let's see what else we got.